time for more. Editor of The Exiled, Yasha Levine, is talking to us from our studios in Los Angeles. Yasha, good to see you. So you actually first broke the story about the connection between the Tea Party and the Koch brothers. This was back in 2009. Talk a little bit more about that and how it's sort of influencing today's political climate.
Well, yeah. Really, the Kochs were the masterminds and the funders of the Tea Party movement. They really were. The Tea Party would not have existed without them. So, with that being said, you know, that means that the GOP's recent victory in the elections would not have occurred without the Kochs. They really made that happen. Just these two brothers.
Now, the invitation to this event says, quote, that it is to develop strategies to counter the most severe threats facing our free society and outline a vision of how we can foster a renewal of American free enterprise and prosperity. So what is their number one issue, their number one grievance that's caused them to meet for 8 years now?
Well, yeah, I can't, it's hard to say. I mean, because it doesn't, their objective doesn't really make any sense. You know, they really have everything that they want. The government really doesn't regulate them, or if it does regulate them and catches them doing something illegal, let's say, you know, spilling oil or some other dangerous chemical, or, you know, an oil pipeline that blows up and kills a couple of little girls, they really aren't fined for it or are given just a, you know, it's a token fine. It's almost, you know, we would pay more if we paid a parking ticket. And so this idea that the American economy is under threat by big government tyranny, and there's some kind of attack on business going on. I mean, it's completely, it's ludicrous. It's a fantasy, and it is a created fantasy. It is something that they are. It is a fake war, but one that they are willing to take to the very end, I think. To a place where there is really no government, or if there is a government, it does only their bidding.
So do we know anything about what specific politicians they're backing and they're funding, especially if we look ahead to 2012, because I believe that was one of the main topics of discussion, the elections in 2012?
Well, you know, it's hard to say because, again, you know, a lot of the money that's flowing, that's sloshing around in the Republican Party is really well, you can't see where it's coming from because it's being hidden with all sorts of all sorts of not vehicles that allow them to hide the origins of the money. And so one thing is clear is that they are some of the most, if not the biggest backers, they are the most active backers, and they might not be contributing directly to campaigns, but they are paying for the creation of you know, of these fake movements that are allowing the Republican Party to seize power again. And so they are not, maybe it doesn't really matter who they fund. It's the environment around the political process that they're funding. You know, that they're really controlling the game in a lot of ways.
But why the secrecy, though? I mean, rich people fund politicians all the time. I mean, this whole secretive nature seems to be sort of a staple of theirs. Why?
Well, I don't know if it helps them to, if they really feel comfortable with the common people knowing what they do. I don't know if they really want to even associate with us commoners, you know. And so they don't want to know. They don't want us to know what their real plans are, right? So they have kind of a false ideology that they push on the masses, and but there is kind of a more reality behind it that they don't want people to know about, because I think they would be at odds with, you know, with what they're saying publicly. You know, they talk about the free market a lot. But if you look at their businesses actually, and if you look at their business deals that they are parasites. You know, they use big government tyranny left and right to fatten their wallets. And so really this idea that they want free markets, it's really kind of it's a joke. I mean, they love big government. They're just like any other Republican corporations or Republican billionaires. they want big government only for themselves and for no one else.
But on the flip side of that, you have Democracy Alliance and George Soros, and so supporters of the Koch brothers say, you know, we're here because we have to counter the other side.
Yeah, well, yeah, they like to talk about that, George Soros a lot. Soros is like Breitbart was at the protest yesterday, and that's pretty much all he was talking about is Soros, Soros, Soros. Well, you know, Soros, there are a lot of billionaires in America who contribute to political campaigns and buy politicians. You know, the problem with the Kochs is that they not only want to buy politicians and corrupt the political process, they also want to make the American people love the fact that they do that. You know, they are actually trying to mold this, you know, American psyche in a lot of ways. They want to change the way that Americans think about the political process, and so that they're actually grateful that a couple of billionaires would corrupt government and suck up all the power and money in the country.
And so, it was very interesting to see those protesters there actually trying to do something about it. Editor of The Exiled, Yasha Levine, over there for us in Los Angeles. Thanks, Yasha.